vegetables.
What are we talking about right now? Well, congratulations. I'm glad you eat vegetables. All right. So, how are we feeling?
I'm glad it's over.
Andy, how you feeling?
Mom.
Like $1 million? Mom's sitting directly in front of the camera. Like her head just in the way like this. Nope, that's going to go on the camera for everybody else to see. All right, so often when we do a day like this, the question is, why? And I promise you it's not for my amusement. While I am amused by this, it's not for my amusement. It actually goes all the way back to the 100 Words of Fitness, which is what's painted on the wall behind me here. You can actually find it. It says, bike, run, swim, row, etc., hard and fast. The reason why you all should care is that's the way to get results the fastest. This goes back to the conversation we had about figuring out how much power was created in workouts, right? In today's class, the time was fixed. You did 30 seconds every single time. So the way you get the most results from this class is by generating the most force you can, because the pedals are fixed and they're going a fixed distance every single time. So the only way you can get all you can for power out of this is by putting as much force through the pedals as possible, which is what is being read when you see the screen where it says watts. It's the power output of your effort. The higher the wattage, the faster the calories tick, the more calories you get in the workout. So we use calories as a metric for effort in today. And we want results. I think that's why everyone comes here. You wouldn't pay all this money to come to this gym if you didn't see some sort of benefit, whether that's psychological or physiological, but you see the benefit either in your head or in your body or both. Now, results are directly proportional to intensity. Intensity is nothing more than how much power do you generate in a workout. Therefore, intensity is directly related to discomfort. Who felt discomfort today?
Oh, yeah.
Discomfort? I don't know, Shelly didn't feel, she wanted to go for a 1,000-meter run right after the workout. I mean, you can blame Kate for that, she dimed you out, but. I'm proud of you, it's because you're away from Joyce. All right, so therefore, your results are inversely related to your comfort, meaning the more comfortable you are, the less adaptation you have from your workout, the less benefit you get from your effort. If you don't believe me, go walk as slow as you want for 10 minutes. Do you think you're going to change your body very much doing that? You might get a little bit of benefit, but not a lot, right? Now do that same thing, but run as hard as you can for 10 minutes. How much different are you going to feel? That difference in feeling is intensity, and then again, that influences the results you'll get from your program. Now, why we do what we do today, outside of the reason why it's in 100 Words of Fitness, is because high intensity intervals do a lot for your fitness. And we have to remember that fitness is a compromise between many different things. It's not just being the strongest person in the gym. It's not just being able to run the furthest in 10 minutes. It's a mix of all these capacities. So, for a long time, people thought the only way to train their cardiovascular system was to go long and slow. This thought still pervades in things like the sport of mixed martial arts or boxing, where a lot of those athletes just log miles and miles and miles. And what they don't know they're doing is actually making themselves weaker and less powerful. So in a sport where you need to be extremely powerful and need really good endurance, distance running might not be the best way to improve your fitness. What way would be better are high intensity intervals like we just did. Now, because we want that compromised fitness, we want to be able to develop our cardiovascular system without having losses in power, speed, and strength, which is why what we did today is very effective. Because when we train anaerobically, meaning really, really, really hard, or we're not really using oxygen to kind of fuel our efforts, we are able to maintain power, speed, and strength and develop the cardiovascular system at the exact same time, not at the expense of one another. And if you don't understand what I'm getting at, next time you watch the Olympics, look at the marathon runners and tell me if they have a lot of muscle mass on them. They're not. They're not built for that. They've trained so specifically, they've traded their ability to be very efficient running for their body size and muscle mass. They have weaker bones, they have less muscle mass, but they're damn good at running 4-minute miles for a really, really, really long time. They've traded some capacity, whereas the fitness we're after in here is a balance of capacities. So we already kind of talked about this, but what we're looking to improve with the cardiovascular system is our body's ability to uptake oxygen and to put off that poison feeling you felt in your legs. Everybody feel that, like after probably about round 2, your legs just felt heavy and you're walking around like you're the Tin Man, you need some oil, right? That is excess of lactate being created by your muscle tissue in the absence of not having enough oxygen to clear it. The more you do stuff like that, the harder effort and the more rounds it would take to get you to feel like that. Not that I'm saying you'd want to do 30-minute bike sprint or 30-second bike sprints over and over and over again every single week, but the more regularly you did sprints, the more resistance you would have to how terrible your legs felt about 2 rounds in. Andy, how we doing?
They still feel shit.
So again, high intensity intervals help develop our cardiovascular system. They exert tremendous power, which we talked about gets us results. And probably the thing that's most important here, and the thing that we're after with all of our training, is creating a neuroendocrine response. So when we exercise, we either want to change our mind or our muscles or both simultaneously. The neuroendocrine response basically means exercise that changes you neurologically or hormonally. Now, we care about this because when we have a change in hormones as a result of the effort we put into a workout like this, we see an increase in fat loss, which, does anyone not want fat loss? I thought so. Increase in muscle mass. I think everybody would want that because we remember muscle mass is like the #1 predictor of your mortality, how long you're going to live. We also see increases in your sex hormones, your testosterone, your growth hormone, your insulin-like growth factor. Those are the hormones that make you feel young and youthful and good. And then last but not least, it actually improves your bone density. So all of these hormones that we change and alter through exercise that feels as terrible as it felt today actually does a shit ton for us when it comes to our health. And then for that reason, you can expect more of them in the future.
Shorter?
Maybe. I'll consider it. I'll put it in the suggestion box. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Daniel.
I was just curious about how you think of this workout in relation to the week or the month or the year, because obviously, while it's really beneficial to do something like this in 2 minutes, we also wouldn't want to do this every day either.
Correct.
Right? And I imagine you could burn yourself down pretty fast if you kept doing this. So, like, how often, or like, what other kind of things are you trying to put in between this and the next time it's like this?
I mean, realistically, when I write the programming, the things that I consider is like, you know, if I look at a week or a month or multiple months, I look at how many times did we go short, how many times did we go long, how many times did we go medium, how many times did we do workouts that are a single modality, so just one thing that we're doing over again, how many times is it a couplet with 2 things or 3 things, or like yesterday, a chipper. And I just gotta get balance across that, because again, the fitness I'm trying to develop for all of you guys is a fitness that goes out into the real world and is applicable, because the real world is unpredictable. So if we do workouts you can predict, and you know every day you come here, every Monday you come in here, it's gonna be leg day, then every Tuesday bike sprint day, you're gonna get really good at those things on those days. But when we start to mess with the order, all of a sudden the capacity diminishes. So to answer your question, I look at what's around it, and I try to reference times we did it before, and I try to draw upon that. So like, for example, last week we did 10 by 250 meter row. That's about a 45-second effort. We did that 10 times. So we got a good amount of work in that class. Going into next week, we have rowing intervals that goes 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 calories. Now you're gonna be able to draw parallels between your 250 and the 20 and 10 calorie sprint, but you're not gonna say how that relates to your 50, your 40, and your 30. And the idea here is every time we train here, not only are we getting fitter, but we're collecting data on ourselves. So we learn, like, you know, if I had to do 2 more of those rounds, I'm gonna continue to see degradation in my ability to produce power. And I wanna know as much about myself when it comes to fitness, because then that informs other workouts that we do, or informs things you don't do in here, right? If you know you can go really, really hard for 30 seconds on the Echo bike, and some scary shit happens to you in the real world, and you go really, really hard for 30 seconds, it's nice to know you can call upon that in an instant, which is realistically why we train this, is to be able to go out of this place and call upon this like extremely high power output when, you know, when duty calls. So, I don't know if that answered your question, but I'm looking at what's around it and it's basically a giant jigsaw puzzle. And I think about the pieces and what we've done, and, you know, are we pulling this week, and do we push the following day, or do we squat day after that? I look at those pieces and just try to make sure they fit so they're not having redundant motor patterns. You wouldn't come in and do handstand push-ups on Monday, push presses on Tuesday, push-ups on Wednesday, burpees on Thursday, and then Friday we're doing wall balls, like all of the same thing. That's how I look at programming. Any other questions? No. No, I say we will continue to do this, but I didn't say we'll do more of them.
Well, you're going to do something.
Yes, we will continue to do workouts like this in the future, yes.
Like, do you have any
I'm not telling you. To answer your question, we will do more of this. It might not always be 30 seconds. It might not always feel this bad. But we will continue to do stuff like this into the future. Yeah, if you just manage Tuesday and Thursday, maybe you'll get lucky next time, yeah? Different, right? What's that? With you? I don't want to do that. We used to do 100. We can do that again, Andy. Is that for the suggestion box? Well, guys, thank you so much. You're all good. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming in.